Staškeviča, what about professional union? Can you organize it in Latvia?
I fully agree that the trade unions can be a strong part of any organization, and especially in a company having a lot of co-workers, being one of the biggest employers in any country. A retail industry is a favorable one for trade unions, and Maxima corporate governance will need to take into account the role of the trade unions in the future, because that may be beneficial for a better understanding between different chains of management, and also better understanding of needs of employees.
Alex Zelners, Latvian Independent Television. There have been many calls to boycott Maxima shops during these days after the tragedy. Do you feel the impact of these calls? Are you losing customers?
No doubt, no doubt. I'm once more very sorry for the situation where our loyal customers are under emotional stress, and are encouraged to take quite drastic measures sometimes. But I accept this as a part of a criticism for the company. I understand this as inevitable in this situation, and I only can assure that it is a Maxima's duty to regain the public trust and trust of its customers.
Do you plan to rebranding of the company?
Honestly, I don't think a rebranding would be a good cure, because if the company just changes its logo, everybody will remember the old logo for a long, long time. What it is necessary to change, in my opinion, it's the attitude, it is the understanding that the company is by no means a super group which could control everything, and what I would immediately agree about is that the company should change its slogan.
Jā, runājot par rebrandingu, atklāt sakot, man šķiet, ka tas nebūs piemērots risinājums, jo pat nomainot logotipu, ir skaidrs, ka visi atcerēsies veco logotipu. Vissvarīgākais ir mainīt mūsu attieksmi un mūsu izpratni, kā arī pieņemt, ka uzņēmums nav supergrupa un supervara. Un šajā situācijā svarīgākais man šķiet mainīt uzņēmumu savu.
Jūs pateicāt par pozitīvu pārmaiņām, ko tieši ir domāts uz tām, kāds ir kā rīcības plāns un kā?
So you mentioned positive changes. What is the further plan of action?
Yeah, those changes have just already started. There are changes in the management and changes in the cooperation between Maxima Group based in Vilnius and SIA Maxima Latvia headquarters in Riga. I see that we need to encourage local management to be more active and more confident in many terms. Other quick changes reacting to a situation are like internal investigation, which needs to reveal and bring publicly the real causes which lie behind all mistakes, and also related to the construction and the projecting of a building. More items include helping the victims in a consistent and transparent way, cooperating with public and state institutions, and also amended communication with the Society of Latvia, including marketing tools.
Jā, tātad šīs izmaiņas jau ir sāktas, sākot gan ar vadības nomaiņu, gan ar komunikācijas starp Maksimu Latviju un Maksimu Viļņā. Mēs vēlamies iedrošināt vietējo vadību, būt aktīvākiem un pārliecinātākiem. Un vienlaikus tiek veikta arī iekšējā izmeklēšana, lai noskaidrotu traģisko kļūdu iemeslus, arī saistībā ar būvniecību. Un vēl daļa no šīm izmaiņām ir caurskatāmas palīdzības sniegšana cietušajiem, sadarbība ar valsts un citām atbildīgajām institūcijām, kā arī komunikācija ar Latvijas sabiedrību, ieskaitot marketinga.
Jā, man bija jautājums pirms traģēdijas. Maksimā bija attīstības plāni šeit Latvijā, vai tagad ir atlikti, vai Maksima plāno izvērst savu attīstību šeit Latvijā, vai būs kādi jauni projekti?
Question is Maxim development plan in Latvia. Sure. Are you still continuing the one that was there before the tragedy, or some changes or new directions?
Overall, Maxima has no big expansion plan in Latvia. It is already a rather large retail chain. We were going to open a couple of new stores in the nearest future, and I know that those plans are on hold now. I believe that expansion and growth in Latvia can only be discussed after we stabilize the situation, after we are completely sure that we can guarantee the security and proper approach to all our projects, and that the organization in Latvia is capable of steady control of everything.
Kopumā Maksimai Latvijā nav liela attīstības plāna. Mēs jau esam viens no lielākajiem pārtikas tirdzniecības uzņēmumiem. Es zinu, ka bija vairāki plāni atvērt vairākus jaunus veikalus, un šie plāni pašlaik ir uz laiku apturēti. Un, manuprāt, par izaugsmu Latvijā mēs varam domāt tikai pēc situācijas stabilizēšanas, kad būs skaidrs, ka varam garantēt drošību visiem saviem projektiem.
From Latvian television, based on what principles was measured the amount of money Maxima will pay to those who suffered in tragedy?
So far, the decisions to give a material support to the victims of a tragedy was taken by the former management of the Maxima Latvia. It was quite an emotional decision. There was no obligation for Maxima, formal obligation or whatever request from the authorities to act like this. And therefore, Maxima management decided to take an initiative. I guess that the sums of money were decided in accordance to a personal understanding of what is required, what can be helpful to the relatives of the victims. And if there are other opinions, I would be very glad to look at them. Yesterday I had a meeting with the welfare department in Rigas Duma, and we are going to cooperate with local social services to ensure that support that will come from Maxima in the future is coordinated with the support provided by the state and municipalities.
But now, when the leaders of Maxima are changed, here in Latvia, will still pay? It doesn't change?
No, of course. Those contributions are being paid every day. I know that some withdrawals were made yesterday. Some people receiving help today, and many of them have already got the support from Maxima. So those promises will be kept, there's no doubt, and we'll see what we can do in addition to what we have promised.
You talked about changing the attitude towards Maxima employees. Can you expand on that? What exactly is wrong at the moment regarding the work conditions of Maxima employees, and how exactly are you planning to change that?
Yes, first of all, it's a security of our premises. We take that very seriously. People in all the countries where Maxima is operating now, from Estonia to Bulgaria, are checking the roofs of the buildings and involving experts to make sure that there is not slightest doubt our employees are safe in those premises, as well as the customers. But not only that. I know that Maxima, being leader of retail trade in the Baltics, and sometimes praised by the customers as a favorite brand, is not supposed and not evaluated to be a perfect employer by far. And there are many reasons which lead to small details and quite heavy disappointments expressed by our people day by day. I believe that the key change should be in an approach from the business owners, that every executive on any level knows that Maxima is not a stock-listed company. It has clear owners. Those owners require that every employee in Maxima Group, whatever is his job, has a decent conditions, a decent salary, and if he or she has any complaints about the conditions, there are clear possibilities how to express those complaints, wishes, and demands to the management of the company. I guess this is very important, and this will come.
Tevētīs īsāk sakrīt, man jautājums, jūs atvainojāties par šīm te Maksimas kļūdām un arī šo te traģēdiju. Iepriekš jūs kompānija uzņēmās atbildību, bet tikai morālu atbildību par notikušo, vai jūs uzņematies daudz plašāk atbildību un arī esat līdzatbildīgi pašām traģēdijām?
Well, a collapse of a building which took 54 lives is obviously an event which has some kind of legal offense behind. And I know that the formal investigation continues. The tragedy side is still under control of the authorities. I am 100% sure that there are enough clues and evidences to be collected to define the real causes of the collapse of the roof and the background of human actions behind it. It is very important not only for the general feeling of justice, but also for formal reasons. yes, whatever those findings will be, I fully admit that it was a Maxima operation. There was a Maxima logo on the building, and Maxima therefore is responsible for what has happened. And by saying Maxima, I mean not only management but also owners of a business. If we come to a legal responsibility, I would fully rely on the investigation ongoing. And I understand that it may result into attracting specific persons to responsibility of the court. Therefore, we will more and more hear the statements which will be dedicated not to the public but to the judges or lawyers, and we need to take that into account. I have no intention to harm the investigation. I wouldn't disclose unnecessary details or make unnecessary pressure by saying something inappropriate or anything which I don't have competence on. If the legal investigation will lead to specific convictions, there is no doubt that everybody accepts it. There is no other way. That's the way the system works. At this point, we are not at the court, and I am here only to present the apologies, to express my sorrow, and to accept the responsibility, the moral responsibility, in the name of the owners.
Jūs teicat, ka jāuzlabo ir noteikti tuvākajā nākotnē darbinieku apstākļi un iespējams arī tas attieksies arī uz atalgojumu. Vai jūs varat pateikt, cik liels līdzekļi varētu nākamgad, piemēram, prasīt atalgojumu pieaugums un darbinieku apstākļu uzlabošanu, un vai darbinieku Maxima Latvijā var uz to cerēt nākamgad?
Well, again, being chairman of crisis management group, I wouldn't dare interfere directly into organizational matters of a company. I will make sure that we review the remuneration system. I know that even before the tragedy, the salaries of Maxima people were compared to the peers of the industry, and to my knowledge, Maxima is not of some sort of exception here on the market. However, there have already been noticed several disproportions in remuneration levels, and I guess that as it is very difficult to expect that salaries of some executives would be cut, that means that it's most likely that the salaries of some other employees would go up. But it's not only about the salaries. I guess in a free market, companies compete not only for customers but also for employees. To get competent and efficient co-workers, you need to offer an attractive conditions, better than the competitors. So we would look at salaries, but at the same time I would make stress on the internal culture, on the values of a company. What I am going to cut immediately is any sort of arrogance coming from any level of executives in any department. I guess that would be a decent start.
Kā krīzes vadības grupas vadītājs, es nevēlos uzreiz iejaukties uzņēmumu darbībā un iekšējās lietās, taču mēs algu situāciju noteikti pārskatīsim. Un es zinu, ka tas arī tika darīts pirms traģēdijas, kad algas tika salīdzināts ar citiem nozares uzņēmumiem. Un man šķiet, ka Maksimas situācija nebija īpaši izņēmums tirgu. Tomēr zināms neatbilstības atalgojumā mēs esam pamanījuši, taču jāsaka, ka brīvā tirgu uzņēmumu par darbiniekiem sacenšana tikai ar algu, bet arī ar citiem darba apstākļiem. Un es varu teikt, ka, lai piesaistītu labāko darbspēku, bez algām ir jāņem vērā iekšējā kultūra un vērtības. Un es gribu uzsvērt, ka tas, ko mēs patiešām nepieļausim, ir jebkāda iedomība no jebkuriem vadības darbiniekiem.
Vēl trīs, četri jautājumi.
Man jautājums ir par šo te veikalu. Kāpēc, tomēr, Maksimas vadība meloja tajā brīdī apgalvojot, ka tas veikals nav saistīts ar Maksimas amatpersonām un kam tad īsti viņš pieder un kāda ir tā saikne ar Maksimas īpašniekiem, šī te veikala īpašniekiem?
Yeah. Well, I have already apologized and I once more express my sincere regret for the misleading statement from the management of SIA Maxima Latvia regarding the ownership of a building. Formerly, SIA Maxima Latvia was a tenant of a building. That is the sort of explanation for that misleading statement. However, it's not a justification for it. The status is that even if a whole building, a whole complex was developed by a Canadian real estate developer, which made orders for projecting and construction, as a final result, both ownership and operation of Maxima store was in the hands of the same group. That means that both Maxima retail chain and the company named Dineo, the owner of the building, belongs to the same controlling stakeholder, Mr. Neris Numačs.
Man tāds emocionāls jautājums jums. Pieņemsim situāciju, ka jūsu bērni jums zvana no kinoteātra, kur skan signalizācija. Ko jūs viņiem darīt?
Kids with the calling the alarm system just went off. So what would you tell them to do? What do you advise your kids?
Yeah, definitely. Today, if such a situation occurs with my son, I would tell him, run for your life. And I must admit that my personal attitude has also changed. I think that every of us was used to neglect important alarms, and the reality is that even if alarm seems to be false, it's not to be neglected.
Ja kas tāds notiktu šodien, un man zvanītu mans dēls, es teiktu viņam, skrien, glāb savu dzīvību. Un jāsaka, mainīsies noteikti arī mana personīgā attieksme. Un jāsaka tomēr, ka mēs iespējams bijām pieraduši ignorēt signalizāciju, bet ir skaidrs, ka pat ja tā ir viltus trauksme, par to ir jātiec ļoti nopietni.
Vai nevajadzētu šodien uz visiem jautājumiem?
Nē, ir kaut kādi jautājumi, protams, atbildes.
Es gribēju jautāt, vienot sakot, pagājušā gadā Maxima Latvija peļņa bija 20,4 miljonu eiro. Saistībā ar to es gribētu jautāt, cik liela daļa no šīs peļņas ir nonākusi mātes kompānijai Vilnius Prekybai, un cik liela daļa ir palikusi, tā teikt, Latvijā, nezinu, tīkla attīstībai un tam līdzīgi.
Well, to give a precise answer, I would need to look at the figures and be serious with such sort of reply. But in general, yes, our intention was to grow our business, not only in Latvia, but in other markets too. And if we look at the policies of a holding or at the lifestyle of our shareholders, we will see that their biggest passion was this sort of activity. We were all devoted to a growth, to a fast growth, aggressive growth of our businesses. Opening more stores, bigger stores, new stores, implementing modern ways of shopping, aggressive marketing tools. This was very much Maxima during the last decade. I know that the growth of Maxima in Latvia was not an easy one. We faced several difficult periods beforehand, but nothing was in comparison to Solitude's tragedy. And if at some point we will see that there is a possibility to continue with the growth of our operation here, it will be a different growth, different kind of it. And the speed, the magnitude will not be main criteria of such a process.
As you told, you are doing all your best to your employees. There is some information in the media that cashiers are working 10 to 12 hours with 20 minutes break, and they've got timetable to go to the toilet. Is that true, and do you think that's a normal condition?
Well, again, as we are talking on a different occasion, we need to take into account that negative emotions from Solitude give different colors on many problems which Maxima deal with on a daily routine. And therefore, I wouldn't go now into a detailed discussion and try to judge where is exaggeration of a problem and where is a real wrong behavior of Maxima managers. We will look at it very carefully, step by step. And one thing is a discipline at the store. There needs to be a time schedule, there needs to be a shift regulation. Another thing is a human approach and understanding of the needs of workers, supporting them. And that sense, that approach should go through all the instructions and regulations of any level of Maxima management, store level, and instructions of certain position. I know that the anger about Maxima's mistakes related to Zolotudės tragedy disseminates to various spheres. And at this point, I can only accept this as a fair position, as a fair criticism. And it would be completely wrong to ignore any message about a company. But at the same time, we need to be rational, we need to be consistent, we need to seek long-lasting results, not just PR effects, not just some nice promises or nice words, and therefore I would rather concentrate on steady improvement of regulations inside Maxima organization so that it can be supported by any management to follow and will be passed to new owners, because that will definitely happen one day. Change of ownership of a company. We are not ever living people. And I know that the wish of the main owner is also to build an organization which would survive him and his children. So this approach should be implemented in Maxima's culture rather than seeking for a fast and rapid growth. This I see as a main change of a strategy. And strategy is just the first, very important, crucial, but quite superficial thing if we talk about specific details. However, without this change, no long-lasting effects may occur on a store level.
Man arī jautājums, sakiet, vai arī tas, ko jūs šobrīd sakat, nav kaut kādā veidā plānēt PR, jo, piemēram, kas kavēja 10 dienu laikā, kas ir pagājušas kopš traģēdijas, vienā brīdī pateikt, pietiek strādniekiem, vairs nav jāizpērk tās preces, kurām beidzies definēt, piemēram, pietiek strādniekiem nav jāsedz zaudējumu veiklē, bet kaut kas ir nozagts. Kāpēc, ka tas ir vienkārši viens lēmums un viss?
Yeah, I honor your perception. Every person can judge me or my colleagues on its own, and that's everybody's right. Of course, we could implement those changes earlier. I am deeply sorry about the situation here, but at the same time, I can only ask you and everybody to look at the measures, at the actions of myself and my colleagues and follow, observe what's going on in Maxima, not only today, not only tomorrow, next week, but month after month after month. Be strict to whatever wrong behavior of our executives. I believe that after some time we can together make a conclusion that Maxima became a better company. My belief is that it is a better company when I left it 8 years ago. It is a better company today, still not good enough. And Zolotudis tragedy revealed it.
If you compare the profit Maxim gained here in Latvia last year to the sums of money you will pay to those who suffered in tragedy, don't you think you can help more?
Well, Maxima is a strong financial organization. It's a strong organization and stable in financial terms. There is no denial of that. However, money can't buy everything, and sometimes promising just big money is again a wrong thing to do. If the material resources of any kind are necessary to help victims of a tragedy, we will allocate those resources. The managers of SIA Maxima knew that from the very first minute after the event. We knew, the shareholders' point of view, that it's not a question about money. And therefore, the first days and nights after the tragedy, everything went more or less in accordance with the expectations. I guess that was a fair position, and it helped a lot. That position has not changed. There is no restriction, no limit for the necessary help to be supported materially. But as I say, we need to take into account also not only material matters. And sometimes good communication, proper cooperation with authorities and social services may help more than a promise or action paying some amount of money to the victims. But again, those promises will be kept. All the victims and relatives will receive a promised financial remuneration. Other measures will follow. Latvian society will be aware of that.
Man ir jautājums tāds, Latvijas uzdošanai būtu precīzāk, proti Maxima ir viena no līderēm, ne pati līdera sūdzību skaitā par darba tiesību un darba aizsardzības jautājumiem. Vai Maximas īpašniekiem par to bija informācija un kāpēc tās sūdzības joprojām katru gadu ir tik lielā skaitā, kas īpaši nemainās, teiksim, skaitā?
Yeah, I think I've said quite a few things about the view of the owners towards the conditions for our employees. At this point, I don't have much to add to that, to what I said. I guess that our understanding could be not 100% getting the full picture of what is the feeling of Maxima employees. I guess it is partly understandable, as it is a very big organization, and more than 30,000 people work in Maxima Group in total. But again, even if Maxima management tried to be a good employer even before this tragedy, even if there was a commitment from our owners to grow a company as a responsible employer, we see that still there are many things to be improved, and this will be done together with the safety measures, together with a better communication inside the company. Again, I only can believe that after some time we will see a better picture, and if you compare Maxima to other peers in the industry, you will see a good example, but not a negative one.
Vai pēc atbrīvošanas no Maxima Latvijā vadītāja amata Gintars Sinsks nonāks kādā no citiem vilnas prekības biznesiem, piemēram, Eiro aptiekas ķēdi vai kādi citi biznesa vadībā?
The answer is no. Mr. Jasinskas is no more an employee of a Maxima Group. There is no intention to offer him a high-rank position in any of our businesses. Frankly, I don't think he is capable or seeking such a job. To my knowledge, yesterday he was at a medical care, and as a former employer, we do our best to support him, as that person went through a shocking situation. He is physically and emotionally exhausted, and by today it is very difficult to judge his professional future anyhow.
Tagad ir atklātas nelielas nepilnības, neatbilstības pēc jaunu būvējāmos veikalos Maksimā. Vai jūs kaut kā rēģiesiet, kad jūs pārausiet līgumus, īpaši jūs pateicat, ka jaunu veikalu atvēršana nav plānota kaut kā Damas ielā un Rīgas?
They found some problems with some very small problems with the new stores in Riga that are to be opened, some small lack of compliance. So what will happen with those stores?
Yeah, well, as we probably all know, the new store opening was put on hold. And to add something to that, I may confirm that one of our stores in Estonia was closed yesterday for customers based on the information or alert that the construction of the building looks suspiciously insecure. Again, to my best knowledge this morning, the store is open after some checks and works have been done with the premises. I know also that 2 more stores in Estonia have been thoroughly checked based on the alerts coming from the customers and the public. At the same time, our specialists, together with foreign experts, check item by item, store by store, project by project, every real estate which is in a possession of Maxima Group. So far, we didn't observe any threatening cases. But again, it's not about objective findings. If there is information that may raise cautiousness based on a subjective point of view, we will look at this very seriously in each case.
Es domāju, ka lielos blokos ir tā atbildes. Ja nav, tad droši var vērsties un mēs mēģināsim.
Tomēr par tiem jauniem, kas ir jauni būvējamas, tas Dāmas iela un Višarnieku iela, kas ir par tiem dēļas, kas vēl nav atvērts.
Well, frankly, I didn't look very carefully at this situation because the decision was already taken before my arrival. I understand that the authorities stopped the opening of a new store. Our specialists tried to work on documentation matters and on checking the projects and premises so that everybody is 100% sure that buildings are fine. Hopefully those stores will be open for the public sooner or later. But this is not by anyhow a priority of my concentration today.
Yes.